Lisa. In the world of scrapbooking, I think the least used color is purples and lavenders. Now, I say that going back many, many years of scrapbooking, but I have not bought a lot of paper in the last year or so. I bought some warehouse boxes, and so that wasn't, the most current product, and I just haven't bought anything because I don't need any paper. So there may be some stuff out there, but what I don't have it in my stash, and my past experience is it's just not a color that's used much in the scrapbooking industry. So I have these photos though that have a lot of purple shades in there. These were taken at the Biltmore Estate. I'll have to look up the date, but I think it was May of 2016. No, it was last year. And so I want to do a page that I just went by myself, so I just want a page that reflects my tastes and my experience, and I would really like to work with the lavender colors. So I'm looking at what I have that I can do with lavender. Now I have a lot of markers and things. I have some paints here that are possibilities. I have this wilted violet color, which is in the new Distress Oxides. I have a darker purple in the regular Distress, and I have some other darker purples, and then I have this Wisteria Wonder from Stampin' Up. So I've got several things that I can do lavender. I don't have any mist that's lavender. The only mist I have is really, really purple. So I'm thinking of doing a mixed media page. And because I'm looking at paint and maybe the Distress Oxide, which can sit on top of the paper, I'm thinking about doing a colorful background of some kind, maybe green, and then on top of the green add the purples, because those are the primary colors I have here. I still want it to be soft. This day it was not super bright sunny, it was just a nice spring day. I've got on my sweater, so it must have been semi-cool. I just remember it being serene kind of day, and and that was the whole idea, was just to have a day away from everything and everybody, and I tried to do that once a month in 2016. Didn't always accomplish it, have not accomplished it at all this year. So I'm looking back on this day very fondly right now. So I definitely want to do something with the purples, and I think I'm going to do a green background. And I thought that I would just do cardstock. The advantage of doing cardstock, of course, is a little heavier surface to put paints on, and also if I mess it up, usually I have more than one sheet. Now I pulled out a bunch of different Stampin' Up colors here. I can see this one right here is not the right color. I don't know, that must have been an end color or something. There's one of these that I don't have, but one sheet of, and I think it's this one, the pistachio color that was an end color some time ago, and I'm looking at it thinking that's the best one. So I think it would be the best choice. This is an end color from, I think it may have been one that I can't remember if this is one that's continuing the mint macaroon or if it just went away. I don't know, but that would also be a really good color. So I like either one of those two to use as my base. So do I want a little bit more sagey look, or do I want this? I like both, but I think this gives me that little bit more serene kind of look. I think I'm going to go with this one. I'll save the pistachio for some other time. Alright, so what I'm looking at doing is putting the photo down here and doing a lot of the color and stuff around this photo so it can really make the photo stand out, because these pictures are pretty bold. So I got a 4x6 and then one other photo that I'm probably going to put up here in the corner. I may even lay my journaling over this on vellum so that it softens these, and just have it with a flip up kind of thing, and then have this photo with a lot of color around it. So what I'm going to look at is, how am I going to add this color? A stencil, jelly plate, that's what I've got to decide next.
I've pulled out some of the jelly plate minis. I have the square one out here first, and I decided to put on some gloves. This does get to be a little messy. I buy disposable gloves at Sally's Beauty Supply, and they're great because they're a little large and I can use them more than once. So we'll put some color down using the small jelly plate. I like that color. Let me do a little more with that. And I'm just doing like one stencil putting some color down, putting one stencil over it, and using that to make an impression. And I'm trying some other acrylic paints here. That's an old discarded piece of chipboard where I had punched out all the letters, and that makes a nice design too. I felt like I needed something a little darker to go with this, so I'm adding a little bit darker paints as well. Of course, I could layer these with multiple colors on top. I'm just really trying to get just some lavender colors here. And that particular impression was made by some leftover packaging. Were some metal pieces, so it had kind of an impression of the metal pieces in it. So there's all kinds of things you can use to make impressions on your jelly plates. All right, that's giving me some good color around the bottom, and I just have a little bit more I want to add and to fill in a couple of blank spaces. Kind of soften the edges of this. All right, so that's dry, and that's where the photo is going to go. And I thought I would do, I've got a lot of lavender there, and I want to soften the whole effect by adding some white over the top. So I have my a stencil here that I'm going over with white gesso. It didn't show up as much in the camera, but it was just a little too much purple. I think it looks better on screen than it looked in person in terms of the amount of purple. So I'm taking white gesso, and that dries fast. So when I wiped it back down, you know, it's pretty much already dried. I could have used a baby wipe and probably pulled a little bit more of it off of there. But I'm just pulling a little bit of the white back up as I go. I want a muted look over this lavender. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do a center section of that large stencil. And then while I had the stencil out, I thought I'd put something up in the upper left corner. I don't know if it'll show or not because I'm going to put the photos on there. But if it doesn't, it's no big deal. Just adding a little bit more of that design to carry it forward on the page. Okay, so that makes a pretty background. It's dried now. We're going to put the photos on the top, and right now it looks like they're going to cover up what I have already stenciled. Now I'm going to be putting my title and some embellishment down at the bottom. What I decided to do at the top is instead of putting the journaling over the top, I decided to put it underneath and create a fold over kind of thing with these photos because I really want to see the main photo at the bottom, and the flowers are kind of taking away from that. So if I fix it so that those flip up, and this is going to be, of course, a top-loading album, so it's going to be easy to have this on the top, outside the page protector, just flip it up, and you would see the photo of me, the embellishments that are going to be at the bottom, and the journaling, and then you can see the flowers if you want to or not. So I think that gets me a lot of real estate on my page with that fold up. And I used washi tape to create the hinge. Now I've pulled out tons of stuff from my mixed media drawer. I've got some little hearts there. These metal pieces were part of a basic gray collection that they've got sort of transferred over to mixed media. So I think I used all the papers that went with them. And that trim, that rose trim, I got that, I believe, at Joann's Fabrics a long time ago. Just kind of laying these things out, seeing what I want to do with them. This page has no pattern paper and at this point, and it never ends up with any pattern paper. Now this stuff that I'm putting down the bottom is drywall tape. A friend gave that to me to use in mixed media. I haven't done a whole lot with it, but it just gives a nice soft layer that doesn't take away from anything, doesn't hide the photo, but adds a little bit more texture to the page. I'm going to put some trim and a piece of flare up at the a pin up at the top, and that'll be like the tab for the fold up thing. And we'll glue that on with hot glue. And the title is going to say, it's going to say My Day, but I'm going to sneak a little A in there so it could be May Day, because this photo did take place in May. But it's really more about being My Day. Now I have a bunch of sequins that I want to put on the page, and one of my subscribers, Lisa Davis, left me a great comment the last time I used sequins, is to put them in a bag with embossing powder lining the bag, and it keeps the from sticking to the bag, and it makes it so much easier. Here we do, just taking the embossing buddy and running that around inside the bag, the Ziploc bag, and then I can throw the sequins in there and they don't stick, which is a great tip.
Alright, I finished gluing everything on that needed hot glue, and then I just used the regular Tombow adhesive for these sequins, and the little embossing powder trick worked beautifully to make these a lot easier to access. I've added a few stickers and things that I had pulled out. I didn't use these wood veneer pieces, but I used a lot of the stuff that I had pulled out from my stash of mixed media and just other supplies to finish off this page. So we have this little tab that pulls up, and then you can see the journaling underneath there, and there would be a lot more room for journaling. Or I could print out, I had quite a few pictures from this day, so I could print out some more pictures and put under there too if I wanted to. We started with some jelly printing to get this purple lavender color that is difficult to get to, and then just added a lot of other fun things on top of it. This layout does not have any patterned paper, uses some stencils, and if you like stencils, I do have a class called Scrapbooking with Stencils. They are one of the most versatile things you can use, and if you have inks or paint or anything that adds color, your stencils can work for you, and they're not much of an investment, and there's a lot of things you can, you know, kind of, if you have a silhouette or Cricut or whatever, you can cut your own stencils too. So anyway, just a thought there, and thank you for sharing the page with me and the process. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked the page, I'd love to get a thumbs up. Thanks so much.